And a good morning to you. Welcome on in to Cards Hub 365, powered by Gray Bar here on Sports Hub STL. All content brought to you by our friends at DraftKings. The crown is yours. Joe Roderick and Matt Rocchio with you for a few minutes before the Randy Carricker show gets underway. And Cardinals starting at 11:40 again this morning. Two back-to-back morning games. Yesterday, a sweep in the doubleheader, 16-1 or 15-1 total. With the run scored yesterday. Couldn't have asked for a better day yesterday on that doubleheader for the Cardinals. Solid pitching all around and a lot of home runs.
Yeah. Two things you did not do a lot before yesterday. You did with equal aplomb, which is win on the road and hit home runs. Two things they just haven't done at all this season for the most part, and they did that back to back for the first time in almost two seasons. Was pretty impressive. Just all in all, really great things. I do have a negative. Should I go?
Yeah, let's hear
Should I go Debbie Downer?
Yeah.
Alec Burleson went 0 for 8.
Okay.
And he had put together a pretty good string over the middle of April there. He was 3 for 4 against the Braves, 2 for 5. He went 1 for 4 against the Mets, had a couple one-hit games earlier in the Houston series. And so he finally gets both games and goes 0 for 8. That was a bummer to see.
The lineups are out for the game today. Get to those in just a second, but do want to say again that this show, Cards Up 365, brought to you by Gray Bar. If you are suffering from supply chain issues, disrupting your operations, have no fear. Gray Bar has you covered. Visit graybar.com to start an order today. That's graybar.com, and fix those supply chain issues with Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Lineups for today: Matthew Liberatore on the mound for the Cardinals, the lefty Andrew Abbott on the mound for the Reds, and the Cardinals putting out this lineup for today: Lars Nootbaar leading off and playing left, Mason Wynn is at short, Brendan Donovan at second, Nolan Arenado at third, Wilson Contreras at first, Lucan Baker DHing today, batting sixth, Jordan Walker seventh, Joel Pozo behind the plate, and Jose Barrero is in center field for the Cardinals today. He played a lot. He played kind of all over the place in spring. A guy that you could have made the argument for coming out of spring that he earned himself a bench spot. They went with Ciani and then a few injuries throughout the beginning of the first month of the season. Finally gets the opportunity to be called up in recent days when they knew they weren't going to use Thomas Sajaci as much as they wanted to here over the next few weeks, and we see him get a start in center field. I think primarily brought up here to be a backup shortstop, backup infielder, but we're going to see him kind of playing everywhere, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense going up against the lefty. You don't want to put in Victor Scott. You want to get another righty in there. I guess also just because of the lefty factors and because of there's just no point in doing the whole Donovan in left field, Lars in center field, Gorman in the lineup, or Burleson in the lineup with those guys being lefties. There's no point in getting creative to try to figure out how to do it. So yeah, go with a righty, play the odds. It makes sense.
I'm excited to see him. Yesterday during the afternoon game, the night game, I should say, I was texting with Chris Pelican, Sarah Daly, who hosted the postgame show last night. And with it being 9-1, with it kind of being okay, they got tonight that postgame or that yesterday, that after that night game, they jumped on Petty. They get to 9 runs, and then they were like, "All right, let's get the hell out of here." We got another game tomorrow because you saw how many up down.
That's a good point. Also, you also made me realize I feel like you should just be able to go get a free drink at Mobile on the Run today.
Because
I feel there should be attendance is mandatory at Mobile on the Run, and that's your drink. They did it twice in one day, Joe. Why am I paying anything for a beverage at Mobile on the Run today?
And we'll get Greg Warren in here, and you, or I guess his dad, and you guys can go after it.
They did it twice.
You guys can talk about your disdain.
So if they would have spread those games out across 2 days, there'd be 2 different days where I would have had cheap drinks at Mobile on the Run. But now it's only one day. I'm with Greg's dad. Sounds like a conspiracy. Sounds like a conspiracy.
But it really did seem like they kind of got up there, and it was one of those where it's like in youth baseball, you get up by a certain amount of runs and you just stop stealing, and you're just like, all right, we're just gonna go station to station. They got up 9. Yeah, they put up 9 in 3 innings on the rookie making his major league debut, and they're like, all right, okay, we all feel bad for him. We just want to get through this, and let's just get to the end of the game, and everybody save your pitching.
The Mike Myers Memorial back 6.
Yeah, okay. We're just let's just get to it. Let's go home. And there wasn't even like, there's not even like you don't even meet in the outfield after the game and talk about it. You're like, all right, just clear the dugout and let's go home.
Yeah,
that's one of those. We've all had a long day. Let's get out of here.
I was watching the broadcast, and apparently when Ali Marmol goes like this, it means put in the getaway day lineup. Around the 4th,
okay, so no, that's the point that I was kind of leading to with all of this, was that I'm sitting there, and by the 7th inning, Barrio wasn't in yet. Barrio,
I think Barrio was right.
Barrio, he wasn't in yet, and I'm saying like, where is he? Like
one of those R's is
like,
silent.
Why are we not? Why is he not in there in the 6th? Like you had to have gotten him 2 at bats.
I guess I'm a little surprised. Yeah,
you got to get him in there yesterday, and then you even let Luke and Baker play first base yesterday.
Yeah, you don't want to get too disrespectful.
But that's not disrespectful. in anything, hey, this is the organization that you were player of the year for a few years ago. In the organization, hey, we're going to throw you out there and we're going to let them see what they're missing out on.
You can't human victory cigar too early, else they take it a little bit, to the pride.
But you put Luke and Baker playing first base.
Is kind of a human victory cigar.
On this roster, I feel like is more of a victory cigar than anything.
That's
else.
A good point. No, that's a fair point. You're right. All right.
So I was a little. I was wondering where that was yesterday. He ended up getting in the game late, and I was fine with that. But I did want to see a little more out of him. I do want to see just if again. I know he's older. I know
you just wanted to hear the pronunciation.
No, I know he's older. I know he is, but again, he was such a highly touted prospect, and he had a good spring that I'd like to see what you have there. I would like to see what you have there. See what other kind of avenues that possibly opens up. So,
how highly of a prospect was he?
I mean, he was the Reds Player of the Year in their organization a few years ago.
Okay,
so if we're hitting the restart button, see what you have from other people's organizations. He gets to start today. It's again, I don't consider any of this a getaway day lineup. You are seeing a mostly right-handed lineup. Yeah, I haven't looked ahead yet to see what the pitching matchups look like for Mets and Cardinals this weekend. Maybe do that in the post-game show later on this afternoon. That with Brendan Schaefer. Hey, in baseball season, we are a month into baseball season now, and DraftKings Pick 6 wants to be your fastball right down the middle. Select 2 or more players every day and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. And you can do this. You got playoff hockey going on, playoff basketball going on, and you have baseball going on. So choose which sport you want to do, or multiple sports that you want to do every single day, and play DraftKings Pick 6. Cash in your baseball knowledge, your basketball knowledge, your hockey knowledge now, and get in DraftKings Pick 6. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app if you haven't done so yet, and use code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports. New customers play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6. From DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Joe, can I say,
yeah.
I'm looking right now at the Pick 6. You can get Abbott right now on a boost for more than 5.5 strikeouts thrown, or you can play either more or less on 4.5 strikeouts thrown for Liberatore. I don't hate the more on those ones for either one, because the Cardinals seem to strike out more. I'm trying to find their rate against lefties striking out, because obviously they face lefties a little bit, so the actual the gross number of strikeouts is a little bit lower, but they seem to strike out more against the lefties, and Liberatore's been on a roll, so I feel like we might see some whiffs today in Great American Small Park.
It's funny you should mention the strikeout numbers, because I was looking here as the calendar is turned over to the month of May. I was kind of looking over some of the stats and seeing where the Cardinals are. So 14-17. By any means, I mean it's a disappointing first month of the season to be 3 games under 500 after the first month of the after the first full month of the season has been played. And I was kind of looking to, I think we all want to know and kind of pinpoint where that comes into play. Why do they have the record that they do in the season? And I mean, clear as day. I mean, the eye test has told us that it's the bullpen. 100% is the bullpen.
Yeah.
You want to look at some bright spots after the first month of the season, though. Batting average, Cardinals are 3rd, 8th in OPS overall.
Okay.
So a top 10 offense. They lead all of baseball in doubles.
Okay.
Right now. Pitching wise, that starter ERA, we consistently are seeing that dropping more and more and more. And the starters are going. The starters are showing that they are one of the most reliable starting rotations in all of baseball. I did
the math really quick.
Yeah,
about a 6% worse strikeout rate. Against lefties as opposed to righties this season.
Defensively for the Cardinals, least amount of errors in all of baseball.
Love that.
We have played games in the last week of March and all of April. The Cardinals have 11 errors on the season. 11.
One of the best defenses and a top 10 starting pitching staff. This team's obviously winning a lot of baseball games.
And that's where it is. So second most blown saves in all of baseball, tied with the Cubs for second most blown saves in all of baseball. It's 7. I can't remember who it was that was number 1, but they had 8 on the year. Another thing too, with that top defense, this is where a lot of these stats don't make sense. And I need somebody that's really into the kind of the sabermetrics and everything else to kind of look into this, because you have this defense, you have a pitching staff that's putting the ball in play too. 28th in strikeouts is this pitching staff. 28th. So 2 teams have less strike. I think it's the Royals and the Reds have struck out less batters than the Cardinals have this year. So you're putting the ball in play and you're not making errors. So when that bullpen is coming in, they are just getting lit up.
I know why. I know why there's just the offense. When it doesn't hit at all.
No,
there's nothing there. No one hits for power. I feel like there were a lot of games last year and the year before where the Cardinals won on the back of 2 or 3 solo shots, and they would win games 3-2 that way.
Well, yesterday, look at yesterday for prime example of that. You look at how yesterday's game went. It was 1-0 going into the 9th inning.
Yep.
And then it took back-to-back home runs to make that a 6-0 game. So like going into that, you're looking at this, you're like, okay, Helsley's going to have to come out. He's going to have to be perfect. Next thing you know, okay, we can rest.
And by the way, how'd they get the 1 run? A solo shot. Yeah. And so it seems like that was last year. There was a lot of games where they would just get solo shots, and they're not getting that this year. And it's funny you say that, because somebody asked me right before I came here today, and they were like, would you say the Cardinals are underachieving or overachieving this year? And I'm like, well, if you would have asked me this before the start of the season, I would have said they're right where I'd expect them to be. But if you would have told me they have a top 10 defense and a top 10 starting pitching staff in baseball
and a top 10 offense,
that's it. Although it is a roller coaster, I'd be like, yeah, they're underachieving. It's kind of crazy when you think about the context of it all.
It is just it is still a top 10
frustrating in runs scored.
I would say, just kind of looking around at runs scored. You'd have to look up runs scored. And I think I did not find when I was looking this morning what their numbers are, runners and scoring position wise with hitting.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
For that, I would imagine that has to be bottom 10 in all of baseball.
Cardinals are literally in 10th in runs scored this season. That's unbelievable. In hits, they are 3rd. I was going to say 4th. They're tied for 3rd in the league for hits. Total hits, and
they're middle of the pack with home runs.
They actually only hit 17th.
18th in home runs, but how many home runs did they hit yesterday?
4.
Was it they didn't hit any in the second game? No, they hit 1.
Oh, they hit 1. Yeah, they
hit 5 total home runs yesterday.
They went in with 25, which would have had them tied with 25th with the Astros and the Twins.
Wow. So they bumped up from 25th to 18th in home runs just yesterday with what they did.
It's insane.
So it's being able to, it's all of these hits, all of this average, it's being able to produce those runs and then having the bullpen there. I mean, it's those simple little things that you look at for why this team right now is 3 games under 500. When you look and you go, wow, we have, Ryan Helsley is by all the games he hasn't been used nearly enough in the first month of the season, but he's been productive outside of one game. Kyle Leahy has been incredible in his outings so far this year. The starting pitching continues week after week after week to impress. By the way, if you haven't checked it out yet, Brendan Schaefer wrote an article yesterday praising Miles Mikolas. Go in there. Love it, hate it, go in there and leave your comments on it. He would greatly appreciate all of that. I know he was tickled when he wrote it. He was very excited when he wrote it. So
yesterday, if you look at X, people are just disagreeing with him, pointing out that Miles Mikolas has a 2.4 ERA. If you take away the Boston start, people are just disagreeing with him. It's like, Big Shape's not getting the numbers wrong, people. I'm sorry. Speaking of numbers, the Cardinals are tied for 10th in the league in walks taken, and they are 8th in the league with the least amount of strikeouts from their hitters as well. So just every single number is top 10 in a lot of ways in offense and defense. It's just that they can't finish games, and they're below 500 because of it.
Multiple frustrating losses for the Cardinals, but it's a new month, and they just swept the Reds at home yesterday. They go for their first road series win today. 11:40 is the start time. More baseball talk from Randy Carricker and Brooke Grimsley coming up at 10, and a lot of Blues talk too on the show. It's the Randy Carricker Show featuring Brooke Grimsley. That comes your way at 10 o'clock. He is Matt Rocchio. I'm Joe Roderick. This has been Cards Hub 365, powered by Gray Bar, also right here on Sports Hub STL, sponsored by DraftKings. The crown is yours.